I found the strangest place to put my camera that's best to film right here next to the stove. It's really crazy. It's in my sink. I put 2 boards on my sink, put the camera tripod legs on it, and put the camera against the cabinet in order to get this angle, and I've got the telescope up, and it's a mess, but it works so we can see everything. I'm gonna get my ingredients gathered up and we'll be back. So we're gonna have a Pathways Homestead New Year's meal, and we're gonna have a traditional Southern meal because we are from Oklahoma. So in this pot we have cowpeas that we grow. They're a red cowpea, and you can see they're a type of black-eyed pea. See the little black spot there? But they're red, and that's what we grow here on Pathways Homestead. And in that, we have some ham pieces, the joint and stuff, from ham that we raised, from the hog we raised here. You guys saw the peas cooking. The next step is for me to grind cornmeal. And this is our corn that we grew this year, and we grow it every year, and we're gonna grind it up and make some flour. If I can get the lid off. So this little coffee grinder, I have to tell you guys, this little coffee grinder is amazing. It's a cheap little coffee grinder. It's less than 20 bucks at Walmart. And you know, it's the second one we've had. We broke this cup, and that's, so we had to buy another one because you can't really buy replacement parts. So we have another motor sitting in there somewhere, but it's simple. Fill it up to the line and then just hit the you can listen and hear the change in the corn and hear how it's hitting in there, and just when it sounds more smooth, then it's getting pretty close. Okay. So that brings me to my next step. And I'm lazy. I like to sit down and do this one. And usually I put on some YouTube videos or something. So then the next step is to sift it so that you can get out the bigger pieces and just keep the cornmeal down on the bottom. Some of the bigger pieces, sometimes it doesn't hurt to have a few of the bigger pieces. The coarser stuff makes a neater cornmeal, but I like my cornmeal pretty smooth, and it makes a beautiful corn flour here. And as you can see, some of these grits are pretty big. They're not really grits, but grains, granules, whatever you want to call them. And I just dump them back into the grinder and run the grinder some more. Okay guys, I discovered a tragedy. We are out of butter. So I'm gonna have to stop making cornbread and make butter so that I can finish making cornbread. Luckily, I have some ingredients. Good news, I found 2 ounces of butter, which is exactly what I need to make the cornmeal. I am gonna have to make some butter for us to put on the cornmeal, but this is gonna get us started. I'm so excited. So I'm going to put this in the microwave and melt it and get back to you. Alright, so I've gathered all my ingredients and we're ready to put this together. So we're going to start out with 1 cup of cornmeal that I ground myself, that we grew, the corn. 1 cup of flour that I bought at a big box store in bulk. 4 tablespoons of sugar. 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Half a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. It doesn't have to be pink Himalayan, that's just what I use. 1 cup of Freedom milk. 1 egg from our Happy Hens. And 2 ounces of butter melted. You can use lard or oil, vegetable oil if you want to. We're just going to stir it up. I'll warn you, our cornmeal usually looks purple. Cornbread, when we get it all done, it usually has a purple or a red tint to it, depending on which corn I use. And it doesn't have to be real smooth, but you do want the large clumps out of it. All right. And then I have greased this pie pan, or this cake pan, and I have preheated my oven to 425 degrees. This is a small batch of cornbread, but I should have made it even smaller, but we'll just eat some cornbread for the next few days. Be good for breakfast in the morning. Be good in milk for a snack. I'm going to put it in the oven. It's going to be in there for, I think it's 20 minutes. I better check. I usually hardly ever go by the time. I just keep an eye on it. I can usually smell it. Yeah, 20 minutes. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it, and it's going to be in there 20 minutes. Our next item that we are going to fix is fried potatoes. I've got my skillet heating. I'm going to throw in a little bit of lard, and I'm going to chop up an onion, and I am going to slice 4 potatoes because it's just Gary and I don't need a whole lot. Okay, I'm going to slice these potatoes. And slice the onion. Probably not going to use the whole onion, just half of it. My grease is good and hot. I put in some lard in there. right, there we go. That's all in the pan, ready to go. Salt and peppered. We're going to let it fry and come back when it's done. All right, y'all. We have peas. I did make some butter. We got our cornbread, and we've got some potatoes and some spinach greens here. The spinach greens are from the store as well. So I'm pretty excited. The butter is from the Homestead. The peas and the ham hocks are from the Homestead. The cornmeal, butter, and milk and eggs are from the Homestead on the cornbread. This is a pretty good Homestead meal. If I had fried up sweet potatoes instead of white potatoes, it would have been more Homestead stuff, but I think we did pretty good. We eat a lot of meals that is just food that we grow here on the Homestead. But that's what we're having for supper tonight on New Year's Day. This is our plate of our New Year's supper, our first supper in 2021.